Ladies and gentlemen, the man known as the Easton Assassin, former heavyweight champion of the world, Larry Holmes!
By November 1981, Larry Holmes was a true wrecking machine in the heavyweight division. He already had 38 straight wins behind him and was approaching the fight with unprecedented statistics. In 11 title bouts, no opponent had lasted the full distance. He had knocked them all out. That jab, later called the best in boxing history, worked like a Swiss watch. Before the Snipes fight, he acted simply and ruthlessly. In the spring of 1981, he beat Trevor Berbick, and then in June, he knocked out former undisputed heavyweight champion Leon Spinks in just 3 rounds. He finished every fight early. The public had grown accustomed to Holmes simply going to work, methodically, boringly, but very brutally breaking down yet another challenger. Yet there was something frightening about that icy calm. Holmes seemed unsinkable and free of doubt. Journalists and fans didn't call him the Easton Assassin for nothing. He wanted that reputation, declaring that he would never again let an opponent out of his sight or allow him to sense weakness. By that time, he was already considered a living legend in the US, though he often complained that he was underappreciated next to Ali or Frazier. Many considered the fight against the 25-year-old, undefeated Renaldo Snipes just another easy warm-up before a super fight with Jerry Cooney. Too inexperienced a kid, too easy a prey. But how wrong they were. Holmes vs. Snipes, November 1981, Civic Arena, Pennsylvania. First into the ring comes Larry Holmes, the champion everyone is counting on that night. Then Renaldo Snipes enters, the man nobody believed in that night. But the fight certainly managed to surprise all the critics.
The bell for round titles fight. Tega, a veteran referee. Nunez, May 27, 19. Zoom. Snipes' jab. They scheduled against Jerry Cooney. Maybe in Carlos Palomino against Amanda. Jerry trying to come down with a right. Was just short with a right. Holmes has, if anything, something there. Steadily, yet patiently, Holmes to score. Right there, a combination by Holmes. Beginning to tee off now. He will get 350,000. Goes in. Now he's trying to cover. And you see him making, because it got Larry mad, and that Larry is just belting. He's got away with. Remember the fall spell? Mad.
Somewhere in the middle of the fight, after the early rounds were behind them, a turning point began to take shape. Snipes stopped being timid and started imposing his own game. He went into exchanges, began fighting as the first aggressor, and even learned to avoid Holmes' signature jab. The champion didn't expect such pressure. His punches no longer had the same effect, and he himself found himself against the ropes more and more often. Snipes threw combinations, landed body shots, and wasn't afraid to take hits in return. Holmes held on thanks to his experience, but each round came harder than the last. The challenger seemed to have found a second wind and made the champion forget about the beauty of boxing. A real brawl had begun. It was during these rounds that it became clear the fight could end in an upset.
And time running out on Larry Holmes. But Holmes pouring leather. There's a cut. Concentrating fiercely, attending the business. Snipes scored with a right. He's not getting room to use his left. Finally moves out. Now Holmes is again. Tell you this, Holmes has developed respect for the kid. The fight continues. Oh! His arm. And Holmes is wobbly. And he took a right from Snipes. And Snipes trying to cover. This is all over. Be one of the greatest upsets. Second fight. We have a minute 50 in current day boxing. Left to go in round 7. But huge. Snipes is shown.
In the final part of the bout, the tension skyrocketed. Holmes, who had looked lost in the middle of the fight, began to slowly regain control. He stopped playing open boxing and switched to survival mode. More clinching, more dirty work, minimal risk. Snipes, on the other hand, knew time was running out and lunged into attacks with desperation. He tried to land left hooks and straight rights on the champion, but Holmes slipped away or covered up. Physically, the challenger was still dangerous, but mentally he began to crack. Holmes, like an old wolf, endured and waited for his moment. Each round turned into a war of nerves. Snipes would rush forward, Holmes would answer with a jab and immediately tie him up. There was a sense in the air that one mistake could decide everything. The spectators were no longer sitting in their seats. They could feel the climax was near. But who would end up on the canvas remained a mystery.
Abilities all over again. Snipes in the ring. Down to the midriff with a... He's got to use his left. Oh, just tremendous confidence. And he heard Holmes trying to load up. Again.
After the fight with Renaldo Snipes, which Larry Holmes won by technical knockout in the 7th round, but during which he himself was knocked down, many began to say that the Easton Assassin was no longer the same. Holmes himself saw that evening as a wake-up call. He continued to defend his title, extending his winning streak to a record 48 straight victories, but the bitter aftertaste remained. In 1985, he lost to Michael Spinks, losing his belts, and soon retired from boxing. But that was not the end of Larry Holmes' story. He returned to the ring in 1988 and fought for almost another 15 years, even facing a young Mike Tyson at the age of 42. Outside of boxing, Holmes proved to be a successful businessman. He invested his earnings in real estate, opened a restaurant in his hometown of Easton, and was involved in charity, especially helping low-income families. Moreover, he invested in the coal business and other ventures, allowing him to maintain a multi-million-dollar fortune. Holmes is known for his love of golf and a quiet, country lifestyle. He has a large family and enjoys spending time with his grandchildren. Unlike many star boxers of the 70s and 80s, Holmes did not fall into depression after his losses, did not go bankrupt, and did not get involved with crime or drugs. He managed to preserve both his health, thanks to his sparing style and discipline, and his finances. Today, Larry Holmes regularly gives interviews, attends boxing events, and is invited to Legends Nights. He recalls the Snipes fight as one of the toughest of his career, but is grateful that it sobered him up and made him take boxing more seriously. Holmes remains in history as one of the greatest and longest-lasting champions, as well as an example of how you can end your career and live a decent, peaceful life without losing either your money or your respect.